This is the WP Week podcast, powered by Profile Press and WP Job Openings. This week's WordPress news has plenty to cover, with major security incidents, WordPress 7.1 updates, WooCommerce delays, AI developments, community milestones, and a new batch of plugins, tools, and projects. Profile Press lets you sell subscriptions, digital downloads, courses, and restrict content with Stripe and PayPal integrations. And WP Job Openings is the easiest way to set up a professional career page and start accepting applications in just minutes. We're starting with a security story involving a WordPress plugin, an AI vulnerability detection system, and a backdoor that was caught before it could affect users. WordFence says its Prism system detected a backdoored version of the Advanced Responsive Video Embedder plugin within 2 hours of the malicious version being introduced. Prism, described by WordFence as an autonomous AI vulnerability intelligence agent, identified a critical supply chain backdoor in version 10.8.7, which had around 20,000 active installations. The malicious code allowed unauthenticated attackers to gain full administrator access with a single HTTP request using a hard-coded token, and also sent site and administrator information to an external server. None of the users were affected because of the cool-down period provided by the Protect the Shire initiative. The plugin author confirmed the incident and suggested AI may have introduced the malicious code. He said, "I started using AI, and it seems it went rogue on my code. I expect this was an AI model I used." He also said he was changing the release process to prevent similar incidents. In a separate WordPress.org support forum post, the author said he had also been hacked. He installed a new Linux distribution on a different SSD because he could no longer trust his old system, and said he was recovering his data tiny piece by piece. He also said, "I watched it try again after this happened, and I was aware," although he was unsure whether the activity came from his system or remotely. Moving to another security incident, WP Managed Ninja disclosed a compromise involving an old server that remained connected to its plugin update infrastructure after the company migrated its store and licensing system away from easy digital downloads. For around 5 hours on July 31, the server distributed tampered versions of Fluent Forms Pro 6.2.7 and Ninja Tables Pro 5.2.11, including to sites with automatic updates enabled. Around 295 customer accounts may have received the altered files, while 1,368 customers who downloaded either plugin on July 30 or 31 were notified because the logs could not determine exactly which copy each site received. Clean versions were released, the old server and routing were shut down, and affected users are being asked to reinstall the plugins and check their sites. Looking at WordPress core, the project has published the WordPress 7.1 Source of Truth, giving the community a central place to follow upcoming changes and features. The project is also trimming its PHP unit continuous integration workload ahead of WordPress 7.1. Redundant database combinations have been removed from the PHP unit matrix, cutting jobs by about 52% and job minutes by 54% per run. Gutenberg builds are now fetched once per run instead of once per job, while Docker pull retries have reduced the share of runs needing a rerun from about 68% to 36%. There's also a security release for WordPress coding standards. Version 3.4.1 fixes a vulnerability in one of its sniffs that could allow untrusted PHP code to execute commands on the scanning machine when using the WordPress or WordPress extra rule sets. It also updates minimum dependency versions for PHP-CS utils and PHP-CS Extra, and includes documentation and housekeeping improvements. Matt Mullenweg has also shared ideas around defensive data design as AI agents take on more tasks. He suggests making actions such as trashing and drafting easy while making deletion and publishing harder, with changes that are reversible and visible. He also calls for clearer underlying data, plain language error messages, graceful failure, and treating networking, formatting, and structure as potentially unreliable or hostile. Over in WooCommerce, the 11.0 release has been delayed. The release was tentatively moved from July 28 to August 4 after Arcone testing uncovered a fatal error linked to a new performance feature. The team is preparing RC2 with a fix and will conduct further testing before the stable release. Remy Corson traced the error to WooCommerce's new persistent product status counters, where an integer supplied through an external filter triggered a PHP-type error. He also explained why the team temporarily disabled the feature instead of applying a quick fix, saying the incident demonstrates the release process working as intended. There's also a legal development involving WP Engine, Automatic, and Matt Mullenweg. WP Engine is seeking sanctions over what it alleges were failures to preserve evidence, including relevant WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram communications. The company says some messages are no longer available and is asking the court to allow adverse inferences, dismiss Automatic's trademark-related counterclaims, and award legal fees and costs. WordFence's weekly vulnerability report for July 20 through July 26 recorded 223 vulnerabilities across 175 plugins and 6 themes. There's also an AI security incident from Anthropic. The company found 3 cases where Claude models gained unintended internet access during supposedly isolated cybersecurity evaluations and reached real-world systems. The models mistook those systems for part of their simulated challenges, resulting in unauthorized access to production data and a malicious PyPy package that ran on 15 real systems. Anthropic has halted the affected evaluations and is strengthening its monitoring and security controls. Now, looking at the wider WordPress community, WP Engine has announced a strategic partnership with Commerce, the AI-driven commerce company formerly known as BigCommerce Holdings. The partnership introduces WP Engine Commerce Connect for BigCommerce, aimed at helping growing mid-market businesses modernize their commerce stack without rebuilding their existing WordPress sites. For WordPress site managers, WP Umbrella and PatchStack have published the complete WordPress security guide. The guide is aimed particularly at people managing client sites who may not be security experts. There's also a new look at the state of the WordPress plugin ecosystem. The State of WordPress Plugin Opportunities 2026 analyzes 60,257 WordPress.org plugins and finds that 43.8% have not been updated in 24 months or more. By install size, 24.5% of plugins with between 1,000 and 10,000 installs are stale. That compares with 10.9% of plugins with between 10,000 and 100,000 installs, and 2.2% of those with between 100,000 and 1 million installs. None of the plugins with more than 1 million installs were classified as abandoned. If you're heading to WordCamp US, the WordPress Core AI team is bringing the prompt bar to the event on August 18 and 19. Attendees will be able to connect with contributors, ask questions, share feedback, and discuss their AI projects with Core AI team members, contributors, and volunteers. Foo Plugins is also asking users to help shape an upcoming Foo Gallery bundle for people managing multiple WordPress sites, such as agencies. Its survey asks about things including the number of sites managed, plugin spending, licensing preferences, pricing, and more. People who leave their email with a genuine response will receive a 50% discount voucher for the upcoming bundle. Flying Press is celebrating its 6th anniversary. Guido Varghese reflected on the product's growth from a simple idea to a product now installed on a new website roughly every 9 minutes. He also teased something special in development for the next chapter, with more information expected next month. Simple Turnstile has passed 200,000 active installs, 4 months earlier than Elliot Soursby's December estimate. It took just under a year to add another 100,000 installs, and the plugin is now averaging more than 1,920 installs per week, with 37% year-over-year growth. Also, Slim SEO has passed another milestone, with more than 70,000 active users. Static Studio has launched a new on-demand WordPress runtime. It automatically starts WordPress when users need to edit their sites and shuts it down after changes are deployed, while the static websites remain online. The update also adds daily backups, downloadable full backups, and SFTP that shuts down alongside WordPress. The new infrastructure is available for all Static Studio sites. WBakery 9.0 is now available after more than 8 months of development. The release includes a rebuilt drag-and-drop engine, more than 70 updated content elements, over 40 redesigned attribute types, and modular CSS loading for more selective asset delivery. It also expands ecosystem compatibility, adds a knowledge base, and includes code base optimizations aimed at smoother editing and more predictable performance. WP Bakery is offering 10% off licenses and Support Plus plans with the code WPB9 Launch 10 off through August 31. FluentCart 1.6.0 release focuses on subscription billing. Store owners can now choose between gateway-managed and store-managed renewals, use one-time payments for recurring orders, and optionally automate charges through Stripe and PayPal. The release also adds renewal notifications, failed payment retries, expanded subscription controls, and other storefront and admin improvements. Gravity Forms 3.0 adds international phone support with country selection and validation, accessible defaults for new forms, and an accessible date picker. It also brings Block API v3 support, developer hooks, and updates, along with fixes and security enhancements. Elementor has expanded its Angie AI tool so it can now build full WordPress pages from a single prompt, including design systems, forms, and loops, while creating structured, editable Elementor content. For developers using AI coding agents, Novamira CLI has been released. It allows users to connect Claude Code, Codex CLI, Gemini CLI, or other terminal coding agents to WordPress from the command line. WP Folks has opened sponsorships after reaching more than 1,000 members. The community offers annual sponsorship plans at $500, $1,000, and $1,500. 30% of each sponsorship goes to the Community Fund for WordPress events, WordCamp tickets, travel, and accommodation, while the remaining 70% supports platform operations and development. WP Folks has also launched a repos Git directory for WordPress projects seeking contributors, co-maintainers, testers, documentation, translations, design, marketing, or support. Projects can list their needs through the dashboard, while repositories already linked from plugin or theme listings are added automatically. Ronald Huereka has released GB Extras, an add-on for Generate Blocks, publicly on GitHub as the first premium plugin in his gradual shutdown and open source effort. There's also a warning about a fake Contact Form 7 plugin called Contact Form 7 Pro. Andre says it can appear alongside the legitimate plugin, making it easy to overlook. He advises users to check their plugins folder for both and remove the fake version. Contact Form 7 creator Takayuki Miyoshi confirmed that Contact Form 7 has never had and will never have a Pro edition. Joey Kudish is asking WordPress users how they are approaching AI visibility, including whether they are thinking about being recommended, discovered, or indexed by tools, and what they are doing to improve visibility in those systems. Derek Ashour has also shared what he calls his current conspiracy theory about WordPress usage. He argues that WordPress is not declining among real sites, but is being used less by what he describes as shady people. He points to large networks of sites created for SEO and money-making purposes, and says those tactics no longer work as well, while AI makes it easier to create fake sites. Another community project has grown from a personal experiment into an official browser extension. Jake Goldman originally built the tool to keep WordPress admin tools accessible without the admin bar getting in the way. After sharing an early build with Matt Mullenweg, the project moved into the official WordPress GitHub organization. It now includes site detection, a site launcher, block outlines, cache-busting reloads, storage clearing, and a mobile-sized preview. Release candidates are being prepared for the Chrome Web Store and Mac App Store. Jan Stevens has also been discussing the visibility of new WordPress.org plugins. He says newly published plugins can be basically invisible in search for 2 weeks, leaving developers to find their first users through networks, communities, and content. He is documenting the process of building in public from day one. Kamran Abdulaziz has shared how he finally began contributing to WordPress after 16 years. He says he had not understood that WordPress was largely built by volunteers and assumed WordCamp and contribution were mainly for developers. A disappointing first WordCamp reinforced that view, while a lack of clear guidance left him unsure how to get involved. His experience at WordCamp Asia 2026 changed that, leading to his first pull request, translation work, and deeper involvement with the community. And finally, in community news, MD Naruzaman has received the Yoast Care Fund for his contributions to the WordPress community. Now for some new projects and tools. Studio Wombat has launched Product Search for WooCommerce, a live search plugin. It comes with typo-tolerant and synonym-aware search, relevance ranking, support for product attributes and variations, and more. WP Analyze, built by Suman Sarkar, tracks every WordPress.org plugin daily, recording rankings, install counts, ratings, and keyword trends. It also provides estimated install numbers with confidence ratings and comparisons between competing plugins, creating a historical record that WordPress.org does not provide. Vova Anokin has released Vova's Post Grids, a plugin for responsive post grids with flexible queries, detailed card controls, and Ajax pagination. Benjamin Intal has also shared a Hentic, an AI workspace for WordPress built as a week-long experiment using the WordPress Connector API, AI Client, Abilities API, and AI Connector plugins. A preview shows it understanding a website, helping launch it, and installing plugins without external servers, services, or MCPs. For Gravity Forms users, Jonathan Williams has released the Missing Admin Bundle for Gravity Forms. It combines 4 odd-jar plugins: Form Analytics Pro, Global Search, List Form Pages, and Manage Drafts into one plugin with a single license and update process. Natalie McLeese has launched Aardvark Circle. It is an online membership community focused on accessibility, with practical lessons, monthly live Q&As, deep dive webinars, templates, pricing guides, worksheets, and other resources for freelancers and agencies. And finally, Vecteezy has introduced Reimagine, an AI tool that lets users customize vectors and photos in seconds without prior design experience. It is available to Vecteezy Pro users and users on a free trial. That wraps up this week's Roundup, packed with releases, milestones, new tools, and plenty of movement across the ecosystem. Thanks for listening to the WP Week podcast, sponsored by Profile Press and WP Job Openings. We'll catch you next week with more stories from the world of WordPress.